Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that I'm sending this to you on your phone so you can watch it on your phone too. And also, please ask the teacher, the sub, to pause as needed. Okay? Okay, this is lesson 1-6, describing pairs of angles. And we're still using Learning Target 1D. And it's written on the board. It says, I can understand and use the angle addition, postulate, and angle bisector and supplementary angles. So today we're going to learn about complementary and supplementary angles and adjacent angles. So some angle pairs, basically, is what we're learning about today. So complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90. So 25 and what would add up to 90? So to find out, I do 25 or 90 minus 25. And I could find the complement. So 90 minus 25 is 65. So so 25 and 65 are complementary. I should have picked an easier number for us. 180, so angles that add up to 180 are called supplementary angles. So those would be like 120 and 60. 120 plus 60 is 180, so they are supplementary. Okay, adjacent angles are two angles that have a common vertex and a common side, but not a common interior point. So here's an adjacent angle, a pair of adjacent angles. So here's one angle. And then let me get another color. This is angle ABC. Let me move B down here. And let me grab a blue. So if I was talking about this angle, this blue angle, and this is DBC, that's this blue angle here, they have a common vertex right there. There's a common vertex. And then AB right here is a common side. So AB is a side for the red angle ABC, and it's also a side of the blue angle ABD. So those are adjacent angles. Okay, so a linear pair is two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays. So I'm going to draw two different kinds of angles. So here I have the red angle and a blue angle. So here's the red angle. And again, this one is the blue angle. Right here. These are adjacent angles because they have a common vertex and again a common side. So let's put some letters in. This is A, B, C, and D. Okay, but this picture right here, it's not very straight. We have the blue angle and the red angle. So the red angle is this angle right here. And then we also have the blue angle, which is this angle right here. Okay, these are also adjacent, but one of these forms a straight line, and it's this one. Do you see how this right here is a straight line? So because they form a straight line, and the blue ray here and this red ray here are opposite rays, these are what we call a linear pair. So this is a linear pair. These are just adjacent, they're not a linear pair. And linear pairs are angles that add up to 180. So these add to 180. If you have a linear pair, then the two angles have to add up to 180. Okay, now let's talk about vertical angles. So vertical angles anytime you have an x. So here I have an x. And there's a whole bunch of angles in this picture. But we're going to talk about angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're talking about those 4 specific angles. And let me get some colors. So we have this red angle, angle 1. And then we have this purple angle right here. That's angle 4. And then we have this, I guess it'll be green angle, angle 2. And then we have the blue angle, angle 3. Okay, so the angles that are directly across from each other are vertical angles. So angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical. And angle 3 and angle 4 are also vertical. Okay, and vertical angles are equal. So let's write that down. Vertical angles are equal. So what that means is if this is 65, then angle 2 would have to be 65. Now it turns out though that look at 1 and 3. 1 and 3 and 1 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3. Those are all linear pairs, so they add up to 180. So 1 and 3 have to add up to 180. So I could find angle 3 by saying 180 minus 65. Carry the 7, or borrow and then carry. So 5 and 7 minus 6 is 1, so 115. So angle 3 is 115. So we were given that angle 1 was 65. Because 2 is vertical with it, we know 2 is 65. 3 is 115 because it's a linear pair with 1. And then because 3 and 4 are vertical, we know that 4 has to be 115. Okay. And here's some pictures are. So here's complementary. So complementary are angles that add up to 90. So do you see that these two make a right angle? So that these are complementary. Okay, I think this got cut off, but this is 70 and this should have said 20. So these two angles are complementary because they add up to 90. Okay, 3 and 4 make a straight line. So these add up to 180. So they're supplementary. And then if you add 115 and 65, you get 180. So these are supplementary. So supplementary angles are angles who add up to 180. Complementary add up to 90. All right. And here's some more pictures of adjacent angles. So adjacent angles have a common vertex and a common side. These are not adjacent because they don't have a common vertex or a common side. And then a linear pair is when we have a straight line. So we have a straight line and then they have a common angle. So these are a linear pair. And over here there's some linear pairs. So the vertical angles are 3 and 6 and 4 and 5. And remember they're equal. But it turns out that 3 and 4 are a linear pair. 4 and 6 are a linear pair. 6 and 5 and 3 and 5 are all linear pairs. So the angles that are across from each other are equal, and the angles that are next to each other add up to 180 in this picture when I have an X. Okay? So here's some practice problems. So we need to name a pair of adjacent complementary angles. So we're looking for angles that add up to 90, and they are adjacent. Okay, so this is 15, and this is 75. Now you notice that's 90, but that's 90 all by itself. And then 105 and 75 are adjacent, but they're not going to add up to 90. So let's see if 15 plus 75 is 90. And sure enough, 80 and 10 more is 90. They're 90. And these have a common side right here and a common vertex. So this angle, which is SOT, and angle TOP are complementary. Okay, and then we're looking for a pair of non-adjacent supplementary angles. So angles that add up to 180. And it turns out that 105 and 75 do add up to 180, but they are adjacent. And this 105 and that 75 add up to 180, but they're adjacent. So we're looking for a pair of non-adjacent sides, or non-adjacent angles. So we have this angle that's 105 right here. So that's angle LJM. And then we have either one of the two 75s over here. So that's QOR. So in QOR, they are supplementary but not adjacent, because 105 plus 75 is 180. So they add up to 180, but they're not adjacent. They're not even in the same drawing. They're in two separate drawings. Okay. Number 3. A is a complement of B, and the measure of angle A is 36, and we need to find the measure of angle B. So complements are angles that add up to 90. So to find the complement, I do 90 minus 36. So I borrow, so that would be 8 and 10. 10 minus 6 is 4, and 8 minus 3 is 5. So 54. And number 4, we're looking for a supplement. And again, supplements add up to 180. So when you think complements, you should be thinking 90. When you see supplement, you should be thinking 180. And one way I remember is C comes first on the number line, or in the alphabet, and S comes second in the alphabet. And which comes first on the number line, 90 or 180? 90. So complement 90, supplement 180. So to find the supplement of 117, I'm going to do 180 minus 117. 3 gets me to 20, and then I need 63, or 60 more to get to 180, so 63. Okay, number 5. So we're going to use the angle addition postulate here. We're going to add these two angles up, and we know that they equal 90. But they're complementary, right? So they equal 90. So it's still part plus part equals whole. Part plus part equals whole. So the two parts are 10x plus 22 and 7x plus 34. And that equals the whole, which we don't know. Oh, we do know, which is 90. So that drawing right there tells us it's 90. Sorry. Okay, now I'm going to combine like terms. So it's 10x plus 7x, 17x, and 22 plus 34 is 56. And then that equals 90. Then I'm going to subtract 56 from both sides. And I get 17x equals 34. And I can divide by 17. And I get x is 2. Okay, that's x, but it says to find the measure of each angle. So that means I have to plug in, find the measure of each angle. So x is 2. So I'm going to do 10 times 2 plus 22. So 20 plus 22 is 42. So I know that the measure of angle BAC is 42. We also have to find the measure of angle CAD. And I'm going to plug 2 in for that. So it's going to be 7 times 2 plus 34, or 14 plus 34. And that would give me 8 and 4, so 48. And then to check this, they have to add up to 90. So 42 plus 48 is 90. Okay, number 6. Again, this is a straight angle. So that means that they're supplementary. It means they add up to 180. So we're still going to do part plus part equals whole. This time the two parts are 6x minus 5 and 12x plus 5. And that's going to equal the whole, and the whole is that straight angle, which is 180. Okay, combining like terms, I get 18x, and then negative 5 plus 5 is just 0, so those end up canceling. And then 18x equals 180. I'm going to divide both sides by 18, and I'm going to get that x is 10. But now I have to find the angle, so I have to plug in. So here I'm going to have 6 times 10 minus 5. So that's 60 minus 5, which is 55. So the measure of angle EFH is 55, and the measure of angle HFG is going to be 12 times 10 plus 5, so 120 plus 5, which is 125. And then I should add these, 125 and 55 should give me 180. So 125 and 5 is 130, plus 50 more would be 180, so that checks. Okay, and then 7, 8, and 9. So we're identifying any linear pairs that include angle 1, so any linear pair with angle 1. So remember, linear pair makes a straight line. So what angles make a straight line with 1? So we have a straight line going this way, and the ones that make it are 1 and 2. So angle 1 and angle 2 make a linear pair. And we're only doing ones with 1 in it. And then this one also, 1 and 4. So angle 1 and angle 4. Okay, now vertical angles are the angles that are across from each other, and we need to list all of them. I'm going to grab another color. So we have 1 and 3 are vertical. So 1 and 3, but so are 2 and 4. And then here's an X. So 5 and 8. And 10 and 7. Wait, 5 and 8. Here's 5 and 8. Okay, so another pair is 5 and 8, and then that's 6. Yeah, so 5 and 8 is one pair. Then in another color, I'll do the purple. We have this line and this line. Okay, so those are 6 and 9 and 10 and 7. And 10 and 7. And that's it. I'm also 5 and 6 together, 9 and 8 together, but I can't name them together. And then it's asking if 6 and 7 are a linear pair. So here's 6, this purple one, and 7 is this blue one. And notice that this is not a straight line, so it's not a linear pair. Because the rays don't make a straight line. That's a C-A-U-S-E. Don't make a straight line. Okay. That's it.